war is responsible for billions of lives,
Mm-hmm.
trillions of lives.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just the wars that we really know about. There he is.
That's
What's
the
up, man?
sexiest. That's the sexiest man alive, right there.
Oh yeah. Hold
What you
on.
people been waiting to see? I'm here.
Hold
Mm-hmm.
on. Let me just allow the people to bask in that for a minute.
Hold up, hold up.
Bask in the ambience.
There you go. That's enough for him. That's enough. What's going
I
on,
don't
y'all?
know. I don't know how many wars Juan is guilty of, because in the title I said nations versus nations, man versus man, but you probably had some women warring a yeah. You ever fight over a man, Ants?
Never in my life.
Good
Cat.
for you. What is
All
war?
big. The big blue giant cap for her, bro.
Never in my life. But that don't mean I won't fight for the one I got now.
Aha!
There you
Watch your
go.
back. Watch your
There you
back,
go.
please. So check this out. Was I mean, like, exactly what is it good for? Like, a serious question, because it has to be benefiting someone. And I don't even,
Absolutely something.
yeah, I don't think it's bragging rights. I think
No.
it have to be more than just, be the strongest. Like, that's what they do on the basketball court or at the Olympics, you know what I mean? Um when it
First of all,
comes,
first
shoot.
of all, how
Mhm.
was everybody's Thanksgiving, man?
Oh,
How was everybody's Thanksgiving? Was it all right?
I mean, we don't really celebrate Thanksgiving per se, but it was nice to have the time off, I guess. I worked on
Mhm.
Thanksgiving, but I was off
Okay.
afterwards.
Okay. You Dyson? Pretty good.
now you know better than that.
What?
That's why I asked.
I don't subscribe to Thanksgiving at all. And I say that without any apology. I don't
Hmm.
subscribe to it at all.
Which
Well, I cook. How about that? Your boy chefed it up. Something nice. It's not only the pretty faces, people. I actually can cook too. Carry on.
Why you even starting me up on that conversation? Because that could start a war right now. Thanksgiving legit come from war.
We
period.
talked about it last week, bro. Remember?
Genocide. More than
Yeah,
war,
yeah. So
genocide.
yeah, genocide, pure
Yeah.
facts. So we ain't got to
Yeah.
go back into that.
No,
And that's
no.
pretty much, long story short, like, war is basically to advance economies, and
Hmm.
not just economies for the sake of the nation, the economic benefit of that nation, but is the people that benefit from having a great economy. I was
Mm.
just doing some research on World War I. Y'all realize what a world war is, bro?
Yeah, man.
And this, you don't find that crazy? Like, if the entire world is at war, but
You,
which devil jumping?
you,
Which
you, you,
devil?
you know what? I always wonder about that title, World War. Like, let me get a depiction from each one of y'all. When y'all hear the title World War, what's the first thing go in your mind? What's the first thing come to your
Probably.
mind when you hear World War?
Building a bunker.
Okay.
That's the first thing.
Well, well, you know what? Let me rephrase that. Not in that sense of the word. Like, when Dyson say, it is like for the whole world to go against war. Like, what do you picture in your mind when you hear the title World War? I know you want to build a bunker. And me, I'm a gunman. I like a bunch of guns. So yeah, but past that, what's the first thing going in your mind when you like World War?
Battlefield. I picture like
Hmm.
Battlefield, how it was back in the day. But clearly that's not the way it is now. But that's the
Right,
image that's
right,
in mind,
right.
When
you
Dyson?
I
know?
when I think about war, I think, all I see is dollar signs.
Mm.
Like
Hmm.
I look at war, and I just see, like, the bigger and more. I don't want to say this and make this any part of this sounds insensitive, because I want people to understand that I totally, completely detest war.
Right.
But the more brandishing they're doing war, like, I remember in recent times, you'd hear the news talk about how many tanks are being sent and how these
Right.
tanks are new in advance and all this other type of stuff. They was talking about this foolishness. that I think it's just utter nonsense. All I was hearing was dollar signs. Oh, these tanks cost this. It's a $6 million tank, or this $1 billion tank, this
Right.
$1 billion aircraft. And I'm like, $1 billion of where y'all getting this money from and who
You-
it going to?
And all
Yeah.
That's
these
what.
homeless people around.
And homeless, hungry
Hungry.
people.
Yeah.
How many people lost their house in the past 10 years?
That's right.
But
In
not
the
only
past
that,
2 years.
bro, a lot of people actually go to war for the wrong reasons. Soldiers like this, you don't even know what you're going to war for. Then when you return home, you're not even congratulated, bro. Like, how many people over here that actually, I have a buddy of mine, like I told you, probably a couple of shows back. He was in the Vietnam War and he got dismissed because he stepped on a landmine. You know what I mean?
Oh,
And he got
yeah,
he
that's
got
crazy.
both of his legs blown off, bro.
Jesus,
Blown
man.
off. When I say off, I mean completely off. Like there's nothing there.
Mm.
And only for
Wow.
him, he's older now. Only for him to return home, and the health care for him is difficult as hell for him to achieve.
Wow.
Um, Benefits as far as him as a war veteran is very difficult for him to obtain. So you gotta ask yourself sometime, like Dyson, like you say, who's it really benefiting, bro?
Like
Like they didn't
what
even give him a house out of it, bro. Like he literally lives in an efficiency.
he
Yeah, bro.
probably
Mm.
to really, what is that typing? I want him to understand, like I want people to understand, like what do they call them? Soldiers.
Yeah,
Soldiers go to war carrying enough money in artillery, like in gear, to be able
yeah,
to buy a home.
yeah,
I
yeah.
wouldn't even
Agree.
talk about the people
Why can't I hear?
who oh, you can't hear? Let me see if I let me check on YouTube. All right, I'll bring it back. She comes in. Like people who like fly the planes,
Yeah.
or service the what do they call them, the warships. Like they could they could buy a entire neighborhood with some of
Hmm.
the things that they're managing, man.
Hmm. Okay.
And I find that extraordinary, and I wanted to take it back to World War I, because that's when we really started to take precise notes. Like we know exactly how much. Where's my book? We know exactly how much shells, how much ammunition, how many guns, how many planes, all these type
Hmm.
things. We know how much was bought. Um, and I find that just flipping astonishing. This is just some of the numbers we're talking about. A billion shells,
Wow.
a million guns, 30 billion bullets, 65 million men. Listen, they say in World War I, it was 65 million men, and they were dying at a rate of 6,000 men per day.
You know what, bro? I don't even think people even put that in perspective of how much lives that is losing, bro.
How
That's a
many
lot of people dead, bro, per day.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
how many families, like how many. Whew. All right. So, but what really is it good for? Um, Back to the German War, they felt themselves, and I feel as though they had um a reason to think of themselves worthy of more trading options and being more of a powerhouse when it comes to the super empires at that time, simply because of their ingenuity. Like they were, for instance, I read that the khaki colored dye that Britain's armed forces used before the war started was actually German dye. So they were leading the industry in a number of things. Learned that after World War I, a lot of the German technology that was brought back by Americans and Britons were reverse engineered, and they, pretty much, you wouldn't say steal, but they lost their technology to the fact that they lost the war. You know what I mean? And people to this day still talk about German engineering. You know,
Yeah.
some of the nicest or most well-made cars are German.
German.
So they
Yeah.
felt themselves. And my so I see that there was a need or an ambitious mindset that said we need to be the boss. You know what I mean? We need to be the big honcho. We gotta be calling more shots in the world economy, you
The
know, in
Germans
the
you're talking about here.
market. Yeah, the Germans.
Mhm.
And based on that, and this is it's so funny how history repeats itself in that like
Mhm.
the common man doesn't really pay too much attention to it, so we fall into the same traps, right? So the war, this World War One, which basically was between, and I'm going off memory here, between is it Austria, Hungary? Um, they had the heir to that empire was shot and killed, him and his wife, by I write that down in my notes, by a Bosnian Serb nationalist. So this is Austria Hungary versus Bosnia, right? They're in powerhouses, but what ends up happening? Germany is already looking for a war, and
Mhm.
Mhm.
Germany is friends with Austria,
Right.
Mhm.
right? And I'm just saying this loosely, ladies and gentlemen. If Germany wasn't looking for the war, I apologize. Um, but this is how it looks from my history research. They're
Mhm.
looking for a war, so they partner with these guys, and they say, "Hey, if y'all jump, we ready."
Right.
Now, on the backhand side, Bosnia know they in some problems, and they friends with Russia, and they get Russia, who was in their one little. There's a movie about the Russian, the last Russian Tsar, I think is the name of the movie, and he's a czar who is known for making a whole lot of mistakes, quote unquote mistakes, when it comes to his explorations, who he trusts. Like this is the guy who was listening to Rasputin because he believed Rasputin was curing his child or something like that. You know, um, so yeah, so Russia, um, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy grouped together. France, Russia, and the UK end up grouping together. And now we have this straight up world war bacchanal of millions, billions, well, 65 million lives lost.
Wow.
Wow.
Now, what was that good for? What came out of that? Well, UK was stenching the whole time. Like they were saying, we already the superpowers. We have the most colonies, right? We the chiefs right now. We don't really want to get to war, so they was calling for peace. Don't mess up our good thing. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
So which kind of like paints a certain, like sometimes you have people that present themselves as wanting to do good for mankind.
Mhm.
You feel me? So
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
we so we call for peace, but in reality, we just don't want y'all to mess with our coin, right?
No doubt.
But the minute we figure out whereas we could turn this thing around and make more coin for it, let's jump. You know what I mean? Britain ends up, um, and this is the crazy thing, like they was going tit for tat, and I think Britain got in the war. They started building. They sent a quarter of the national income, the national income, a quarter of it, bro, to build warships. They had the biggest navy in the world, right? All I see is dollar signs. You
Mhm.
see what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
and at the end of the day, like you look at the rest of the world and what's happening, you ask an interesting question like, where do you get the materials from to do all of this?
Right.
And then you understand why it was such a territorial expansion that was
Right.
taking place. Like you understand why France was in Africa, why Britain was colonized, sending people was being sent all over the world looking for spices,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So yeah, like, but okay, that's the heavy history of World War I. World War II was no better. Whilst we on it, so that people could feel a little smarter, because I think I feel a little wiser because I'm thinking about it in certain ways. But World War II was Germany, Italy, and Japan, um, and against the UK, the Soviet Union, and the US, which is interesting again because you look at the Soviet Union being um, fighting alongside with with Britain and America, and you're wondering why they beef in between administrations.
Missiles in the Cold War.
First they cool with Donald Trump, them,
Hmm.
Putin and Donald cool, government change, and now we beefing again.
Mm-hmm.
Like people playing marbles with human lives, like
Correct.
literally.
Because they don't feel
Um,
directly affected.
no, no, they don't have to deal with
Mm,
who won boy have to deal with.
right.
After the war, no legs and no house,
That's
Right.
no
it,
legs
bro.
and nowhere to sit. Could you imagine?
Bro, no.
You know what I mean? And
Not
we have
even.
these things. I want to get into. Let's lighten the conversation here.
Mm,
Yeah, let's lighten the conversation. It's becoming a little heavy, I think. So let's talk about let's talk about modern day. You
okay.
know, some of the wars that actually touch us. And as Bahamians, we know a lot about the war on drugs, right?
Mm,
We know
Mhm.
the war on illegal immigration.
mm-hmm.
Um, we know the war, the political wars.
We know that very well.
We know that very well.
Yeah.
So what are those things good for? Like who let's follow the money. Like whenever you get gaslit into forming an opinion at birth about a thing or a people, that's pretty much a war. The way Bahamians feel about immigration is crazy to me.
Elaborate.
Meaning people will get in arms and say we detest illegal immigration. We don't have anything against Haitians or per se. But how do we grow up? Like I remember as a kid in school, there was every negative connotation that you could think of whenever you hear the word Haitian.
Period. Yep.
Yep.
It was
I agree.
used as an insult to them, your Haitian self. How
Yeah,
is that? Like, I remembered stuff like that.
Or use a hygienic.
yeah,
Yep. Just like that.
yeah. And right now, y'all remember when I went to the barber shop and get my hair butcher?
I remember you told the story.
There's literally a whole lot of tension. Like after all these years of you being a certain way towards a certain people, they didn't um go anywhere. They never went back to Haiti.
Right.
They had children. Those children grew up as our friends.
Yep.
Generations of them, some of them don't even know their heritage because it had to be hidden. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, um, they first of all, and a lot of Bamans could hate me for saying this, but I was telling someone here, okay, they were from India, and they speak two language natively, Punjab and the other one kind of sound like but Indian. They speak two languages,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
English is their third language.
Mm-hmm.
So off the bat, if you speak in three languages and I only know one, a
They're smarter.
little, I feel like you're smarter than me,
Period. I agree.
right?
Yep.
I feel like even you can even share intelligence without me even knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Like in like the Indian. There's two friends, and the friend of mine's um, now. But when they get together, they just automatically go into their native tongue, which is easier for them. So
Mhm.
who's left out of the conversation?
You.
Hey,
Mm-hmm.
so we have a whole country full of people that speak two languages,
Mm-hmm.
but we feel like we are smarter than them.
You know what? Um, I, I I agree with you to a point.
Mm.
My
I make
whole
a
thing
point
is
yet.
this, and I think we touched on this in an earlier show too. Like it's before Ans came on board.
Mhm.
Obviously she was a listener at JP, so that's why she's here now. But anyway, come on, Dyson. You got, that's why y'all need me, man. That's
Yeah,
why
man.
y'all need me.
Wouldn't be a
Anyway,
show.
back to the point.
Point.
Um, if you planning on going to anybody's country, let's just say right now, us three plan to go to Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to adhere to the rules, man. You understand? You have to follow what's in place because at the end of the day, you are a guest in their country.
Mm-hmm.
See, now, the problem, from what I know when I was a kid, when I was home, what I always saw was that, and once again, it's not a shot at the Haitian people, none of that type of stuff. I got some
No,
take
it's
it up.
not.
And even take it
All
that way too
respect.
bad. I don't really care.
We talk
Anyway,
about war. We want to work it.
um,
Let's do it.
if you go to someone else's country illegally, quote unquote, right? You gotta follow their rules, bro. You can't be acting crazy like you trying to overrun and control a situation that you're trying to get welcome into. Like, if
But I
me,
don't.
listen, Nassau is probably the only place that I know that someone can go and talk crazy and they leave it like that. Let me tell you something right now, bro. I travel all over the world. If us three right now go to Nicaragua, Brazil, Colombia, Cuba, and talk crazy, they will lose us in jail. You hear me? And take our passports. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. I got friends right now stuck down there. I
Hmm.
got personal friends right now stuck because they go to someone else's country, don't want to follow the rules and think you are who you are, so you can say what you want to say. You have to understand. Similar to that story, guys. You remember what's the basketball chick that went to Russia and was dealing with weed? You remember?
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
remember that, Lance?
Mm-hmm.
yeah. She's locked up
Okay.
for a minute.
Okay. Now you can't listen. If it's a no weed rule, it's a no weed rule. It don't matter if you American. You enter someone else's country, you gotta follow their rules.
Yeah.
But when you get locked up, now you want to cry. Talk, well, I'm American. I'm him. What I'm really trying to say is that I think the biggest Bahamian versus Haitian conflict not only comes from, and don't get me wrong, you got a lot of piece of shit Bahamians too. You got a lot of Bahamians that just want to sit their ass and do nothing. And then when the Haitians come to the island and take your jobs, now you want to complain. But in the first place, you was interested in working anyway. So what do you expect? But you run into conflict when you're trying to enter someone else's country and don't follow their rules and guidelines, man.
Yeah.
That's going to
So
cause conflict.
so then the quarrel should be with any illegal
Yeah,
immigrant
exactly.
who does that. But I
Hmm.
feel like growing up in the Bahamas, it
Right.
was a direct discrimination against Haitians, period. And I mean, like, I feel it was so much. I'm not going to say it was pushed, but it was so plentiful. Like, I
Right.
remembered moving to the US in the 11th grade, and
Hmm.
this beautiful girl approached me and she said, "Oh my God, you must be Haitian." I was offended.
Mm,
I literally said to her,
mm.
"Do I look like a Haitian to you?" That was what I said. And then
Oh, you
she
said in a
said,
nice way. You ain't a real Damon.
"What do you mean? I'm Haitian." And I was just like, what?
Wow.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, baffled. I mean, thankfully, I moved away when I did. Not saying that all Bahamians think that way or whatnot,
Oh,
but
it's a high level of ignorance. But go
yes,
ahead. Go ahead. I'll say it since you're
yes.
gonna say it. Go
But
ahead.
I
I
hate
am.
that that
High
was
level.
even a part of my mindset. I hate that it was so plentiful like that. Like
Right.
growing up back home, you know, Haitians were treated differently.
Mhm.
I saw it.
Yeah.
Now my I have an adopted sister who is Haitian, you know, and I remember the backlash that we got. First of all, when she hung with me, because she was a friend turned sister, I begged
Mhm.
mommy, can we figure out a way that she can stay? You know, but there was even backlash for that. Oh, how y'all bringing this Haitian in y'all family and blah, blah,
Crazy.
blah. You know,
Crazy.
so I
Crazy.
know people try to say it's because some Haitians come and try to do this, but I feel like it's pure discrimination. Period.
It is. It is tough,
So
man. It
so
is.
so now how this comes back around to being a discussion about war is that in the Bahamas, whether you want to believe it or not, there is a tribal war going on.
Yeah.
And it used to be gang related or turf related as we see it, but really and truly it is it has a lot to do with Haitian versus Bahamian.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, and there's Jamaican versus Haitian versus Bahamian in the mix too, right?
Oh gosh.
Um,
Jeez.
and and we asked like where does this come from? And that's
Mm.
why I brought up the whole Haitian thing first, because we we have this thing. National pride is one thing. We all should be patriotic. I believe in that. But we all should first understand human beings. We're dealing with
Period.
human beings here. We're not
Yep.
dealing with the island. It's not the sand, the limestone, the beaches and the homes or the neighborhoods. Those things are going to be here when we buried underneath it, right?
Mm. Mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
how we deal with human life now, and what is this war all about now? Because the story in short of me going to the barber shop, I just wanted a haircut. The barber who I went to the week before, I didn't feel like cutting my hair. I went there and he wasn't there, so I went and just stopped at the nearest next barber shop. I know dudes don't do that, like that ain't a normal thing, but that's me. I just like to go in and explore. That's Dyson night, right?
Mm-hmm.
I went into the barber shop. I'm the only person speaking English in there, right? I cool. Hey, you cut my hair? Yeah. They had some words with one another. Long story short, I come out, my hair pushed back all the way, push back.
No,
I
Jace.
push all the way back to here. It all like they dig the machines dug into my thing where I probably still have like that black line deep cut
No.
cut me right up, right all in the back of my neck, cut me
Just
right
making
up.
it sharp, boy. That's all it was.
Yeah, to the point where, as I said, you know what? I good. I got about a chair. I give the man his money, and I say I good. I walk out. It was a bit too much. Okay, fine, right? Now, am I angry? I was upset at the time, but that got me to think: why would you do that to someone who you don't even know?
Mm-hmm.
What is really happening here, man? And are we in a position to just say that, okay, now let me see that establishment is shut down. Let me make noise. Let me get my friends to boycott that area, right? What let me wage a war against them. What is that going to do? They didn't need me walking in there in the first place. Obviously they have enough clientele of their own people to rely on. So what does that
Yeah.
say? The only way we can get things sorted out beyond that is to go to blows, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, so, and then what sense does that make? Really
Mm-hmm.
and truly, if me now, as a person of influence, rile up a whole bunch of people to say the next Haitian barber we see, he could get it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I know some dudes will roll like that, but it makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
People end up dying over a haircut. And when
Hey,
he,
but you think he butcher you?
oh,
You,
step
you,
last name.
you think he butcher you based on that reasoning, or he butcher you based on he may have been a rookie. He
He
may.
wasn't a rookie.
That too.
I'm just saying.
He wasn't a rookie.
How you know? You been
He
there
may have
before?
been. He yeah, no, but he was in a master chair. You could tell who was the chief in the barber shop.
Okay. Okay.
You could tell who was the chief in the barber shop. The
Okay.
the rookie. The first of all, the rookie. Most of the time, the rookie either sitting in one corner twiddling his thumbs, not doing anything because ain't nobody will go in his chair, right? Um, but he wasn't a rookie. But let's go back. Let's
You
go
think
back.
he knew who you were?
No, no clue because I ain't part of his clan. You see what I'm saying? Um, all right, so back on this war bit now. Tribal war, turf war. Where's this coming from now in our country? Right, the Bahamas. What's
I don't even.
happening? I don't know if y'all remember when Nighty Knowles was extradited.
What are you asking, bro?
Who?
Come
All
on
right.
now.
Yeah. So not, we had a drug
Well,
lord,
what's the name?
quote unquote,
What's the name?
90. Oh,
No,
okay. Never
last name.
mind. Never
All
mind.
right then.
Okay. So, all right. So we had a, I would call, we had a, let me change that back. I retract everything I've said thus far. I'll say it this way. We had an entrepreneur by the name of Nighty Notes. And I call him an entrepreneur now because at the time, what his business was into right now, a lot of that is legal now. It
True.
wasn't
Yeah.
as legal
He
then.
was ahead of his time.
Right. He was ahead of his time, right? A
Mm-hmm.
forward thinker.
Mm-hmm.
And during his time in the Bahamas, his he employed a lot of persons and he carried a lot of respect because of the way he managed his business. Not only the way he managed his business, but the way he took care of not just the people that work for him, but the family of the people that work for him, the family in the neighborhood where he lived, the family, like he did a lot of, he was a philanthropist as
Mm-hmm.
well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and when he was targeted and end up being extradited, the tables turned. There was no more leadership amongst the ranks in that industry. And when that happened, a turf war break out. Who is going to be now in charge? Who is the new head honcho? Things went crazy, right? um, and what does that mean? What did that mean? Well, let's look at what's happening right now. You have neighborhoods that really and truly can get it together. You have a crime rate that has escalated to a point, and people jokingly say that the Bahamas is on the brink of some form of civil war. And the civil war is when people, like there's a fight between either different class or different beliefs, people against another people.
Mm-hmm.
And we have that type of tension that's happening right now. And all it takes, like with World War One, some extremists
Yeah.
assassinates someone. I mean, it is happening right now because we fortunately the Bahamas is such a small place, and that they are the police officers know who is who. They like to say that in the reports too. This person was known to police. They
Mm,
say
they
it.
do say that.
They say it.
Mm-hmm.
So they know exactly where to go. They know exactly how to keep it under control. Even if it has to take a bit of guerrilla tactics, and we've seen that as well too. And then we've seen a level of corruption inside the in the police force and defense force and all this other type stuff too. And but all of that is like it's such a deep story to understand. Um, but what's on the surface is that if you look at the makeup of and this is why we all need to get along. You look at the makeup of the armed forces in the Bahamas, and you understand that all of them from Long Island, Cat Island, Andros, Ragged, Nassau, Grand Bahama. Some of
Right.
these, a lot, I wouldn't even say some no more, a lot of these people on the armed forces, like in immigration, on the defense force, on the police force, are of Haitian descent.
Yep.
Yep.
Correct.
Agreed. Agreed. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And they know, the politicians know, a lot of us know. And when I say us, I mean people who pay certain people to do work that we don't want to do ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
People who have gardeners, people who, I don't even get into it, right? But we know that we have bought into this as well, because war, who does it benefits? We ain't break into war yet, but this thing that kind of stirs up this the test for a certain type of people comes from our own doing, right? And the only way we can now turn the tables and make it, when it gets out of hand, meaning, oh, our employee doesn't want to work for me anymore. You're trying to raise the price. The minute they get papers or they straight, they move on to something else. We no longer have control over the situation. You understand? We're no longer
Mm-hmm.
benefiting from the situation. So we start to make up names. We start to gaslight the entire nation. You know what I mean? Oh, this type of person is that type of person. This type of person is that type of person. When something that you were saying earlier on, it definitely is targeting, because they aren't the only illegal immigrants in our country.
Yep.
Who else do we have there?
So it's targeting.
Bro, any time, I don't know, and see, but some people do it differently, and mainly because they have a older civilization and they have a better understanding of how to move slow and silent. You don't really see it, and they know who to pay.
Mm.
Bro, I want to keep the conversation on war and what it
So
stood
what?
for.
Well, let me ask this. So, do we have a society of illegal Chinese
If
in
you
Nassau?
ask me, I would say yes.
Hmm.
I mean, we can't say who is legal from who is
Yeah, yeah,
illegal
of
unless we
course, of
ask
course.
for their papers.
But we also have a lot of businesses owned by Chinese, no?
Oh yeah, and all of them are at the bottom of a larger building that have apartments at the top.
Right. Which means they own those too.
Most likely, because that's how they
Yeah.
roll. They believe in ownership.
How? Okay. So back to the whole war situation. Not war in the sense of I shoot at you, you shoot at me, but war in the sense of who's benefiting from what. How is it that the Chinese could set up shop? You know, do they hire their own people and need to work in these shops, or they hire Bahamians?
Mainly their own. It's a mix though. It's a mix,
I
and
know
that's how they
that.
roll.
I know the
Yeah.
answer to that. I'm trying to make
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
So how does the government allow, if they're coming there illegally, to set up shop with apartments above, which is extra income, hire their own, but yet they don't come under fire or picked on or discriminated against?
That's an
I
easy
was good.
answer.
That's super easy. The
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
same. I
How?
Uh,
mean,
uh, all the politicians, the police officers, immigration officers, even the commoners, like
Yeah.
the citizens. Everybody like fried rice, bro.
This nigga's stupid.
and I also think this also goes
I
back
never got a sensible answer. This pig gonna say like fried rice.
back to
Ain't no chicken,
slavery.
sweet and sour chicken.
I
They're
love it.
not the diff. They're a different complexion.
Mm,
See, that's the answer I was going for. I just wanted y'all to say it.
I was
That's
avoiding
exactly
that.
where I'm coming from.
Different
That's it.
shade, different color. That is why.
Same thing with Cuban people, right?
Yep.
Yep, different shade, different color. That's all I was trying. That's all. That's the point I was trying to make. I just want you all to say it.
And this the same thing is shown here. When
Yeah,
certain type of immigrants try to come to the US, they're
yeah,
picked up and dropped in this senator's yard and that person's yard and this person's yard. But when uh, Ukraine just had their situation, they
yeah,
were welcome. They were on the news.
yeah,
People had
yeah,
GoFundMe set up for them.
yeah.
So it's still complexion.
Hey, it's crazy that you say that, right? But even now in 2023, they still got that wet foot, dry foot crap going on as far as here in the US. And I've been here now going on 25 years. Um, as far as Florida goes, I can't speak for no other state because I'm not there. But they still have there's multiple different cultural people of illegal immigrants here, Mexican, whatever, whatever. But as long as you're Cuban, and you touch down, listen, you pretty much get the red carpet rolled out for you.
You straight.
You straight, bro. And see, but here's the problem with that. That creates, and I've experienced this firsthand. Like that creates an air of assholeness. If that's even a word from certain
Arrogance.
Cubans, huh?
Uh-huh. Arrogance.
Arrogance. I know. I trying to say assholeness. Shit. So from that it's to the point that they actually discriminate against their own Latin people. Like you have actually. Let's check this out now. You have a dark skinned Cuban and a light skinned Cuban, and the light skinned Cuban think they're better than a dark skinned Cuban, but none of them can speak English.
And don't miss and mistaken any of them for a Mexican.
Exactly. And then the funny part about it is also that
This stuff is so
when,
dumb.
when they're put in front of a predominantly white situation, they're all in the same boat anyway.
Yep. Just
You
how
understand?
a white people look at all of us.
Right. So
Bahamian,
so it's not
Haitian.
that so the thing I'm trying to make is that you could be Hispanic and be light skinned and you playing for the light skinned team, white people that is, and you thinking they looking at you in a certain way. When it comes time for them to choose, bro, they ain't going with you. They going with the white hair, sorry, the blonde hair, blue eye. That's what they going with. And I've seen that over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long, deep
It's deep, bro.
It
history,
is. It
It's
is.
and
deep.
and one thing just connects to the other. But to understand that there are several wars taking place right now that we don't hear too much about. I think the talk right now is Israel and Pakistan, right?
Palestine.
Palestine, yeah, sorry, Palestine, Hamas,
Mm-hmm.
um, and that is what we're talking about now. We not talking too much about Ukraine and Russia, but I understand that's still going on. But there are several conflicts happening right now. Let me just name some. That you have Ukraine, you have Iran versus the U.S. and Israel. They got something going on.
Hmm.
There's Afghanistan, still at war, even though America has pulled out.
Yeah,
Myanmar, there's the Syrian civil war, there's war Yemen. Um, I'm reading that there's some political, well, there's always political, economical conflict between the United States and China.
yeah,
Um, and there are some boycotts and stuff. You see, right now the world is supposed to be in a era of free trade. In fact, it was supposed to be this way from Britain had all these colonies way back in the 1900s, right?
mm,
Um, um, which was a part of that 1914 World War One. Free trade, but Germany didn't feel as though they was getting enough of the pie, right? So, but to understand that right now, on today, there are 30 plus like serious wars between in Asia, some in Asia, several in Africa,
hmm.
Yep.
right? And we don't hear a lot about these
No,
No,
things,
just certain
but
ones.
yeah, but
spot
to
on.
understand that
Just certain one.
some of the wars, like the territorial wars, are it, it- I have a comment. Um, oh, it's our good friend Debbie. Sometimes we as black people discriminate against each other as well, unfortunately.
That's the
Oh yeah.
Bahamian Haitian thing right there. Two sets countries of black people whose slave ship just dropped them off at different islands on the way to the United States, but think that they're better. Ignorance.
100%. And I don't even
Yeah.
agree with Alex all the time. But guess what? She's spot on with that one, bro. Ignorance in its finest form.
Ignorance. Ignorance.
I mean, the understand or the belief that the less we share with others, the more we'll have for ourselves.
Mm,
Um, is something that really causes us to take things a lot more seriously than it is, and especially Juan, I think you said something
mhm.
about this, especially when it comes to being a patriot or being or repping for a certain thing or cause and
Yeah.
not really understanding the depth or the reason or the purpose behind that cause.
We talked about
It,
that last week, bro. When me and you host the show, we said that the majority, 98%, yeah, I'll go that high. 98% of black people, we, we champion shit that have nothing to do with us.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like we congratulate and all in and celebration and don't even know the history about what we even involved in. And at the end of the day, it don't benefit you. It benefits whoever invented. You know what? Like that's like we always say, right? And I don't care who hate me on this, but I'm gonna say it. There's a lot of situations, programs in college. It ain't created for us. It's not created for you. You can't go into someone else's college, right? And try to alter the programming that they have going on for hundreds of years to benefit them set of people. Now, whatever them set of people may be, that's just what it is. I ain't trying to call out no set of, whatever. But you cannot drop in and try to implement different programs and different things to try to benefit you. What you need to do is come together as a people and create your own.
Hmm.
Plain
And
and
that
simple.
right and that
Hmm.
right there is why it did not bother me
Yeah,
when governor of Florida
yeah.
removed Black history or whatnot from the
Same,
schools.
same. I didn't give a
Because
f- about it.
who cares? Literally, my children are half American, half Bahamian. How do they know their Bahamian history? I taught them.
Yeah.
So what does it matter if they teach it in
Hmm.
schools or not?
Hmm.
Like,
Agreed.
teach your own kids.
Agreed.
Hmm.
Yo, this is a special edition show because Aunt's agreeing with me.
All right, we got time for final
I
words,
ain't
y'all.
agreeing with her. She agreeing with me. I'm playing. I'm playing. I'm playing. I'm playing.
I
Sorry.
can change the title, The Agreement. That's what we can call the show.
Yeah,
The agreement.
The Agreement.
pretty funny.
Yeah, let's get some final words. But I want to urge everyone to subscribe to the Sup'm Show. We're on YouTube. We're also on Facebook, and we are here every Sunday at 6:30 p.m.
Mhm.
And we have conversations and discussions about many different things. So we're always open. We do the show live so that you can comment and you can respond to your comments in real time. So please feel free if you have any show ideas that you want us, topics that you want to discuss along with us, put that in the comments as well or hit us up
I
the
have one.
DMs. Yes,
What's that?
please don't
Say,
forget it.
what's up? What
Write it
happened?
down.
What is?
It is, and this was something that, and I posted on my Facebook today because I was really curious. The role of godparents.
The role of
The
godparent.
role of
Ooh,
godparents.
I
Because
suck as a godparent.
I asked that because I
I don't
lost
even
my
think that's real, but go ahead. We can talk about it.
almost 2 years ago. And I
Yeah.
know I had godparents, and there's no one who stepped in. I mean, like, no one. So that was just something I'm like, is that real? Is it for show?
Oh, if
It's
any
for
of my
sure, but we'll touch on
godchildren
it.
need me, if any of
It's for
my
sure, but
godchildren
we'll
need
touch
me,
on it.
no, no,
We'll touch
yeah,
on
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's save it.
Yeah,
Let's save it for the
we'll
Let's
conversation.
touch on
save
it, but
it.
it's
Yeah,
definitely for sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll
It's for
yeah.
sure, but we'll touch on it.
Say it for sure.
So, so yay, bro. But anyway, we digging into a lot of these things where people spending some money where money need to be spent. But anyway, yeah, let's do this. Final words. I don't know if anyone have any final words on the topic of war and what it's good for. Um, if not, let me know. I could wrap it up.
I go
I don't have
last.
final words today.
Are you gonna have to fight him?
I said I don't. I don't have
Oh,
final.
okay. So you want to go last? All right. So one to
I'll
go
go.
last.
Who's going last? You want?
No,
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 she said she
I
don't have
have
anything
no
to say.
I have no final words today.
All right, I'll go last. Go ahead, Dyson.
All right. I just wanna say that what I see most of all from researching how wars start to how they end and what they look like in the end, there's something that really stood out to me. It is the fact that when it was being um, popularized that we have to fight for country, millions of people who didn't even know how to fight went on the front lines and
Mm-hmm,
lost their lives.
mm-hmm,
Mm,
Tens of millions of people.
yeah,
And by the time as the next clarion call for that type of enrollment, um, but what do you say, voluntary enrollment in war, nobody wanted to do it. And that's where the draft came from. That's where they started
mm-hmm,
forcing you. Every male citizen at the age, a certain age, had to fight if your country had to go to war because nobody, the people who went to war and they came back, they said never again. They didn't
yeah.
even see the point in doing it that time, and they would never do it again. We have people like Muhammad Ali who went to prison instead of
Mhm.
going to war when he was drafted. He
Yeah,
said, "No, I'd rather go to jail." And it was
yeah.
me, and they gaslight you again and say, "Oh, because you're scared. This you're not proud of your country. You're not." No, no. You're not fighting a war to lose your life
mm-hmm,
over some.
It had nothing to do with you.
It's some spot with
Yeah.
people with a lot of money trying to make more money, and they're willing to
mm-hmm.
spend your life in order to get it. Right
Mhm.
now, I don't know how offensive nations would find that, but at the end of the day, as human beings, we all need food, we all need shelter, and as best as we can, we all need love. And I don't see why we need to go to war for any of those things. So it may be a big call, but I don't see why we all shouldn't live in peace. It's over to you, Juan.
Um, Real simple, not too long, and straight to the point. In my opinion, every single war always have an ulterior motive. Okay, now it may not be initially known to you as a soldier on the front line, but yes, you have to understand that you're taking the ultimate risk. And the ultimate risk of what I'm trying to talk about is that you losing your life. Okay. And 9 times out of 10, you losing your life ain't really going to change the outcome
Nope.
because the outcome is already set in motion. Trust me. You know, like my buddy who blown or two of his legs off. Vietnam War still continued
Mhm.
for whatever reason they were even originally there for. And that is a war that the U.S. lost, by the way. I
Mhm.
don't care how they glorify it, they lost that war.
They said it was fight. Yeah, they know they lost. They
They
they say
lost.
it was fighting against communism.
And they lost that war due to poor planning, due to not being trained in the terrain that they're trained in. You go into jungle.
Due to not
That's what it
minding
was.
their own business.
Huh?
Due to not minding your own business.
But
Yes.
you know, America is the world police. America is the world police. And when I say world police, people that don't know, they like to stick their nose into people's business, not because they care, but because they can benefit from, the outcome. Don't get it twisted and think they give a fuck about what you really, in it for.
Mm-mm.
They care about what the outcome's going to benefit them and how they can further, push their policies where we need to push it. That's what it's all about. That's the real definition of war. But just in between all of it, people got to die. And let's understand, people, this is not a video game. You don't die and come back and get to fight again. You're dead, you're dead. You understand? So you got to ask yourself, do you really want to fight a situation or a war that has nothing to do with you? Because 9 times out of 10, they got nothing to do with you. We ain't talking about someone coming to kick your personal home door in and you got to defend. We ain't talking about that. By all means, kill them. Do what you got to do. But you got to understand, every time the government pushes an ideology or pushes a soldiers, in a direction of we doing it for this reasoning, there's also an ulterior motive that you would never know about.
Mhm.
Call it conspiracy theory. People are like, conspiracy. That's just a distraction, bro.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, if it had nothing to do with you, it has nothing to do with it. Because in the end results, the only thing you're gonna lose is your life, bro. And your family ain't gonna benefit from it. Because I also have buddies over here that died in wars, and their family is poor. Poor, bro. I'm talking about the wife and kids have to stand on a corner in a Walmart parking lot playing a violin. Yeah. Hoping for the mercy of people holding a sign up to drop something in a bucket or in a basket to live.
Boy.
When your husband actually signed up for a service only to get his head blown off, and at the end of the day, it still don't make a difference.
Hmm.
Let that shit sink in. I'm gonna leave it there.
Well, that definitely sunk in. That sunk all the way in.
See, yeah, it's JP ain't about bullshit all the time. So that makes sense. Sometimes.
So
Sometimes. Sometimes.
next week we'll be in December.
Mhm.
Mm. Really?
Yep.
Now, Dyson.
Next week we'll
Now
be in December.
you know my routine now. December for Christmas, I'm out of the country.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and
Me.
everybody know, I may be gone from December 22nd all the way to January 6th, somewhere in South America, somewhere around there. So, but you can still reach out to your boy. I'm still available.
And we could check on you. Make sure you're still
But
waking up.
they
Doing
can't
all
go a
of
week
this.
without seeing all of this. You know what I'm saying?
So that's episode 63, ladies and gentlemen, of the Sup'm Show. Again, please subscribe. I'm planning on doing a full series that I'll announce between now and Wednesday for
Yeah,
the month of December. There's going to be a whole lot of traveling around. Things get a bit busy and a bit hectic, so it's a possibility. There might be some changes. So stay close and remember to put your comments in the comment box, and we'll catch you next week, 6:30, same place, Sup'm Show. Peace out, y'all.
peace out, y'all. Take care of each other.